Welcome back to another episode of the We Are Change talk show. Thank you for joining me. It's Wednesday, the 23rd of May, 2018. We have a lot to get through today, but first off, I'd like to announce the start of We Are Change Perth over in Western Australia. If you're over in WA, be sure to look up the group for information on events and protests in your state. But we're going to open up the phone lines. First caller is Stephen, who is undertaking a double degree in psychology and justice.
You suffered a workplace incident. It resulted in you being injured. Can you go over exactly what happened and how you've suffered from this, please, Stephen?
Okay, so first thing to point out is I work casual labour hire, which obviously is the trans from an industry, and there's big problems with.
Were you taking out workplace insurance at this point in time?
No, I had no sort of house cover or sort of work cover, so to speak.
And how long did this render you unemployed and not able to work for?
So far it's been a couple of months or 2 months, but the thing about it is as I was saying, the work cover, it gives you 80%, but it averages out what you were earning, so 80% of what I was earning isn't enough. It's only a little bit self-control.
Yeah.
So it's not enough to live on. It's ridiculous.
No, you're living well below the poverty line. Now, undertaking...
Yeah. Maybe like less than half, probably, what the minimum to honestly, it's probably lying on, probably getting half that.
Yeah. And were you prescribed adequate pain relief?
Yeah, I don't have a big issue there. That's okay. I've got Patadine, Forte.
Okay,
and
yes.
after a while, the pain's not horrendous. I think it's more of the fact that you can't go back to work because you've done your back in and you've got to give it time to heal. So, you'd be silly.
Right, now, when you enrolled... Yes. Now, when you enrolled in this university and started studying for your double degree in psychology and justice, you would have taken out a HECS debt to cover the expenses of this education package. Is that correct, Stephen?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, and that would have been quite a substantial fee that you would have taken out and that you would still have to pay off.
No, it works on the sale. I understand it works bit by bit. Like, as you do each unit, you owe more money. So if you drop out after the first year or after the first 6 months, you don't owe the total of the whole double degree. You only owe for what you've done. And if you withdraw by a certain cut-off date, they have a certain cut-off date, you can withdraw without financially, without incurring a debt.
But there is still an amount outstanding.
Yeah, so when you start the degree, you don't take out a debt for the whole degree. It's a unit by unit. So if you're doing part-time, you can do 1 unit a semester, you could do 2. If you're doing it full-time, like 3 or 4 is considered full-time.
Yep. So basically, how long do you think you're going to be out of work for, Stephen, and be receiving this compensation that is paid in weekly instalments or fortnightly?
Yeah, weekly. Look, I hope to be getting back to work in the next 2 to 3 weeks, hopefully. And the pain is getting less. I guess my main issue that is because of the casualisation of the workforce. You've got so many people who are struggling with this inconsistent work and insecure work, as it's called. So on top of that, then if you're injured, you're getting 80% of bugger all in my case. And it's frustrating. It's shit, mate. You feel like you're some second-grade person.
Yeah.
Instead of being injured and having the chance to make ends meet while you get over your injury, no. You're stressing about your future, getting another job.
That's right, to hinder your studies and also your employment, isn't it, Stephen?
Yeah, look, I'm trying not to affect my studies, but it has a bit, yeah, and I dropped it down to 2 units, I was doing 3, and look, it has, I found it hard to concentrate. It's been a stressful couple of months, but I'm doing the best I can. I had to, be getting more focused into studying, but it's really going to take me to get at least 3 or 4 days a week work, so I feel like I'm getting back on track and not struggling financially and getting work.
Will you be penalised for missing out, being absent and not attending your schooling?
Oh no, I still managed to go to that. I've managed to get along to the units. Mainly, I can do the lectures online. I can watch them online, which is really good for modern age of.
Oh, okay.
And the tutorials that you have to turn up, and I've been pretty good. I've gone to most of them.
Most of the workload you're able to complete at your residence.
That's right, yeah. So, you can lie in bed if you want to, or sit at a table, or wherever you want to access your laptop. You can read, I can lie down, so my back's not stressed on it. Because sitting down, I can still get in pain, but lying down, you can read the textbook and read through your notes, go over things, study for exams. Lying down, that's not a big issue, but it's more a financial stress as well.
Yeah.
And worrying about, well, if I get another job and it's anyway physical, then we're going to reactivate this injury. So I'd rather not be rushed back into getting back to work. But
that's understandable. Now, if you're...
They're encouraging people to re-injure themselves by not giving enough to live on.
So if your financial burden was alleviated, the compensation you received was adequate, a lot of your problems would have been over and you wouldn't have had to endure this living below the poverty line situation.
That's right. Yep.
That's the only factor that's been contributing to your stress at present?
Look, no, the other factor is worrying about whether this actual claim was made for Workcover, whether that's going to actually affect it and make it hard to get a job. Because, it does. There are certain jobs you go for, a lot of jobs, they ask you on the form, the application form, they ask you, have you had a previous case, or do you have a current case of workers' compensation? They want to know about it. And of course, if you say you have, the chances are they're going to employ someone else, aren't they?
Right, so one of your major concerns is that you will be discriminated against in future when applying for further occupations, other employment roles. They're going to judge you and have a predetermined outcome that's going to be placed upon you because you've taken out a Workcover policy, because you've made a claim.
Yeah, look, that is the reality. It's not to say every single employer is like that. It depends where you go in the industry, and if they, and it depends on the level of physicality of the work. If you're just sitting down, maybe in a call center job or something not so physical, they might be willing to accept that. And they, if they can see that you've got a medical cert saying you're fit, you may still be able to get a job. But I tell you,
you have your doubts. That's right, you might approach an employer and you might be red flagged because of your history. Yeah, that's a very genuine concern, isn't it, Stephen?
Oh, it's a worry, yeah. Look, and the whole thing, like taxis, when you look at it, but it's not very much money to live on. The stress of all that, and then worrying about whether you get another job, and obviously because of the injuries, you can't go back to that sort of heavy lifting.
No.
So I'm limited. Before I'm worried about whether the employer is going to discriminate against me for having a Workcover claim, I've also got to worry about jobs that I can actually do that won't irritate and bring back the injury.
That's right.
Not to worry about.
Because you could do more injuries and you could do further damage to yourself if you were to take on a strenuous workload then you could be in a worse predicament.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you would have to seek further compensation, wouldn't you?
I would, yeah. Things could get worse and worse.
And if you do contact an employer and you do feel that you're being judged or discriminated against, make sure you get in contact with us again here at We Are Change. Hopefully it doesn't escalate to that level, Stephen.
Well, hopefully not, yeah. Well, time will tell, I guess, Jeff.
Yeah. So a few more weeks and you reckon you'll be back on the job site?
Well, maybe not in construction, but I'm going to look through my best to find some work, because like I say, I need the income. Hopefully find something not as physical.
Did you make any complaints stating that the...
I did it first when they first agreed on an amount, like the first told me the amount, and then within a short time, within a couple of weeks, they agreed to pay me a bit more. So it made me suspicious that why they offered me a particularly, low amount, and then when I complained, they offered me a little bit more. Maybe I should be asking them again.
Yeah, that might be advised. That's so there was some resolution, but it just wasn't substantial enough. And how much time have you got remaining on your degrees till you graduate?
Oh, years, mate, years. I've only started last year, so I'm 44. I'll probably be about, well, I don't know, maybe 38 by the time I have done for another 4 years, I reckon, because I'm not going to be doing it full time the whole time. Maybe I get it done by 47 and a half, 48. That'd be good.
And hopefully no debilitating injuries impede your progress, Steve.
Thank you very much for your time, Stephen. Next on the line we have Darlene, who would like to discuss Flat Earth.
So when it comes to Flat Earth, where do you sit on that subject? What do you believe?
Sweetie, we live on a flat Earth.
Right.
Oh, hang on. It is not a spinning ball. Science tells us 8 inches per mile squared.
It's a very interesting topic. Yeah.
There is no curvature. Look, I'm looking at the stars here. I can see the Big Dipper. I've been looking at it. It hasn't moved. It hasn't moved for centuries.
Yeah, there's very good information and there's good facts that support both arguments.
Sweetie, I'm not upside down in Australia compared to my friends in England.
Right.
I'm standing erect, upright.
A lot of people...
A flat, stationary plane.
Yeah.
The Jesuits changed it to a spinning ball. They wanted us to feel insignificant, and I can tell you, they're hiding God's creation because we did not come from fucking monkeys.
Yeah, there's people stepping forward with the heliocentric and geocentric analysis. They basically...
You can go back to the 1900s, and it was always geocentric. They fought it. They just discreetly, just all of a sudden decided, okay, we live on a sphere. We live on a spinning ball. It's just all corruption. These bastards are coming down.
And a lot of people say...
making mankind, humanity, suffer through their evil.
Yeah, it's quite a conspiracy, that one. A lot of people have said it's a government...
It's not conspiracy, Dale. It's fact.
Well, some people say it's a government psyop just to confuse people, and they don't know what they're on. Whether it's a sphere...
The Great Ball is a psyop.
Yeah, it's...
They were Freemasons, Dale. They were Freemasons and Jesuits. The people that run the world have controlled us. They keep us enslaved to their system, so they all get rich and we get fucking poor.
Well, you see what's very deceptive is a lot of the science is all government-funded science, and when that's presented, it's very hard to actually believe that because it's being paid for. There's not many independent studies, and as far as NASA is concerned, that's just one big tax fraud. It's actually been shown... $3 million
a day, I tell you what.
Exactly,
I spoke to a woman in New Zealand. She was going to go and see someone and get legal advice to take NASA for fraud.
That's right. There's even footage.
I post it all the time. I didn't post it because I wanted to keep a couple of letters when I did a post. I said, if Australians know we're not on the ball, blah, 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 we should do something about it and not listen to government bullshit. I got 80 bloody comments. I didn't get to read it because I ran out last night, 7:30 last night on Wi-Fi, and I didn't save the post. But 80 comments. But I've got a guy in England, Jefferson. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have contact with my friends anymore. I'm just a targeted individual. Everything's white.
Yeah.
I don't know what's getting through, but I can tell you it's not a spinning ball. It's always been a flat earth.
Well, I know a lot of engineers.
My parents have got a 200-year-old book I read at Christmas time. They said the earth was always flat, but now it's a sphere.
Well, they say engineers don't factor in for curvature, and a lot of the train tracks, the railroads, you know, that they don't make those to bend to allow for curvature. So there's that argument. But then they've also, Darlene,
whatever it is in Australia, it's miles and miles and miles and miles.
Yeah.
You've got the longest bridge, which is 102 miles from China. You've got,
But then they've also said that there's a Russian fighter jet that hits low Earth orbit and it allows passengers to actually view the curvature. So, I mean, there's...
No, well, I saw a post today about friggin', what's his name? He's just another rich elite. Yeah, it's a virgin, what's his nip.
But yeah, there's a lot of paid scientists that are known Freemasons, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, people like that stepping forward.
Shit, aren't they wankers though?
You don't know whether to believe them or not. And
anyway, you just said that word. A belief is just a shit word. Go to the dictionary, look up belief, look up knowing. We know. I know. And I put my life on it. I know. Because all my life I just had this, even when I was at school, I had this niggling feeling there was something. And then when I was 27 or 25 years old, actually, I went to Fiji and I'm around this little buddy canoe or dinghy it was.
Yep.
3 other people. I was engaged at the time, but he died a couple of years later. Rex Radovich in New Zealand. But anyway, yeah, something was telling me I'd look at, I've got the photo still in Melbourne here. And the horizon's flat everywhere you go around the world.
It appears so, that's right.
If the world is 71% water, it's always flat.
Well, that's right. And they also say, when do you see water holding to a spherical shape? You know, that doesn't happen. You know, water needs to be contained, doesn't it?
Well, we know that the water and the oceans, the seas are contained by the ice wall. It goes around all of the continents, 360 degrees. And we know that Richard E. Byrd found extra land the size of bloody America, half Antarctica.
Yeah.
Antarctica's not a continent.
It's very interesting. But then they also say that there's actual flights that'll take you over the top of Antarctica. They actually have a boat race that goes around it. So, I mean, there is evidence to support that it is a spherical shape, the globe. It's got a lot of people baffled. I value both sides of the argument. It's definitely fascinating. There's some really good information on flat Earth. Eric Dubay, you look up 200 proofs the Earth is not a spinning ball.
You can go back to Samuel Burley Rosebottom.
Yeah.
That was before Eric Dubay.
Yep.
You can go back to William Carpenter, 100 proofs.
Yep. Wow.
Earth is not a ball or whatever he called it.
Yep. It's very interesting. Definitely further analysis needs to be done.
I don't have to do any analysis, and maybe you do. I've done my research, I know.
Well, I've looked into...
I've always had a knowing. All my life I've had a knowing. That's why I was always different. that's why I couldn't connect to my mother.
Right. I've studied both sides of the debate, and definitely both sides have merit.
No, they haven't, darling. There's not one proof. There's not one proof of the spinning ball.
Right. Well, a lot of people
And
say.
If you go back and Google the longest, how would you put it, photographed 235 miles, 275 miles, a photograph.
Yeah.
Like you get a Nikon Coolpix P900.
True.
The ships don't go over the curve. You can bring those ships back into view.
Exactly.
It's just that perspective.
That's right. I've seen that with telescopes. They've done that. They said it doesn't disappear over the horizon, and when you get a better telescope, it comes and reappears in view again, doesn't it, Darlene?
Well, I had a $4,500 telescope in Brisbane 5.5 years ago until it got stolen.
Wow.
I wish I had it.
True.
But anyway, sweetie, I appreciate your time talking to me. All I know is I know the truth.
Yep. Well,
And I'm going to spread it.
well, I value your phone call.
Well, that concludes another episode of the We Are Change talk show. We'll leave you with some footage of the opening announcement of We Are Change Perth from the new chapter head, Shawn Dhu. And be sure to tune in here next week, folks, to the We Are Change talk show, where we expose corruption one episode at a time.
So this is our inaugural live video broadcast. There's no scripting here. This is just me, off the bat, off the heart, sharing with you, asking you to do your part. Share this video, share this page, share the We Are Change platform. A good friend of mine, Jeff, over in Jeff O'Toole from Jeff O Productions over in Melbourne, runs the Melbourne chapter, and he's 10 episodes in to what he's created with this platform, which is a weekly broadcast, sharing your stories, having people phone in, having people Skype in, having people write in, whatever your story is. Let's get it out there and let's be the press, because our press is not doing that job for us, and we know that. All it takes is for anyone with a story to tell. Phone your local station, phone Channel 7, phone Channel 2, phone Channel 9, Channel 10, and most other mainstream, big corporations. They're not interested. They're not interested in telling the truth. They're only interested in telling what suits them. Sometimes they tell the truth, and that's great to see. But what we are here for, We Are Change, is here to talk about the stories that the mainstream media has ignored for too long. Way too long, folks. Way too long. I hear them every day. I'm just one person. How many of you are out there? I don't know. But I intend to reach every single one of you and have the opportunity to discuss with you whatever that means. So thanks for watching.
Are you tired of hearing lies and fake news on mainstream media? Do you find it insulting to your intelligence? Well, look no further. The We Are Change talk show is here. President Trump has launched airstrikes on Syria. A lot of his prominent conservative supporters have turned against him after this action. Have you suffered human rights violations or been a victim of corruption? The We Are Change talk show would like to hear about it. Phone the number on your screen today.
Who the hell's going to listen to a little guy? You guys are, thanks.
Yes. It's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And what I hope is they don't put a mother and a child in that house, because that child will die. And no one seems to believe me.
Once again, much love to everybody at We Are Change, and I look forward to seeing you guys at more events in the future and working more closely with you.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for the call, my friend, and all the best of luck moving into the future.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. The legendary Jeff.
Without the instrument of We Are Change, we will not have a future. We will not have a country or world to leave to our children. We won't have children able to function in it. So be a part of it, join it.
We Are Change Melbourne gives those who mainstream media have ignored a voice, exposing corruption, injustice, human rights issues, and much more. We Are Change Melbourne is the voice of the people.
Yeah, this is Jeff. Met Jeff for the first time I'd met Jeff. He too is a lovely chap, and he has a YouTube channel called We Are Change Melbourne. So if any of these topics pique your interest, pop over to We Are Change Melbourne and say good day to Jeff. You've seen that video that's just going past the interview, Enough is Enough. I watched that one.
Phone the number on your screen and be connected with the We Are Change talk show.